Thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Today, we are talking about marketing campaigns to maximize your revenue from the existing patient base. Everything we're going to cover today is all about your current patients. And now, if you had a chance to join us a couple of weeks ago, we have a returning special guest. Sarah Summers Johnson is the owner and CMO at SKS Marketing Consultants. She has more than 15 years of designing data-driven marketing initiatives. She also has more than 8 years of consulting within the dental industry, specifically as a fractional CMO. And she's also worked with directing marketing teams at Fortune 1000 companies. Hi, Sarah, how's it going?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And as I said, Sarah joined us a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about using automation to simplify the workday. And today we're going to dive into specific marketing campaigns in ways that you, different tactics and marketing campaigns that you've come up with to help some of the clients that you serve. Super exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you hang around to the end, you'll have a special offer for me too. So.
Awesome. Great. Great. So let's dive in. So just high level, here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to cover specific campaigns, custom campaign examples to fill the schedule and reactivate patients and push them to accept those treatment plans. We're also going to talk about being omni-channel, and the inbox sending emails is great, but other avenues and other channels that you can use that are great resources for you. And then lastly, we're going to talk about tracking your performance, making sure that you're able to use data in a way that will be able to help you remain flexible and make adjustments as needed. So once again, if you have any questions at all throughout the discussion, please, by all means, put them into the questions box and we will work to get to them at the end. So Sarah, let's set the stage here. Really, we want to maximize the revenue from our existing patient base. And what we're talking about here is the lifetime value of a patient, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's really important to measure this because it lets you know how you're doing from a retention perspective and how you can optimize the revenue within each patient as well. And the best part about like retaining a patient versus getting a new one is that it can cost up to 25 times more to acquire a new patient versus retaining an existing one. So that's an amazing piece. You can keep who you have, you're set. So that's just a really, really good thing to know. It's also important to make sure you don't have any holes in the retention bucket before you're adding new patients in.
Great. And we understand that every practice is different. And while those are industry standards and benchmarks, everyone is different. If you want to have some homework after this discussion, you can calculate your own patient lifetime value. You're just going to take the average revenue generated per appointment. You're going to times that by the number of completed appointments per year. And then you're going to also times that by the number of years that your patients stay active with your practice. And that's really going to give you a starting point to work from. And
yes,
so,
and if you're
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I can just add one more thing to that. If you're a specialist on our call, you can do the same formula with referral lifetime value. So I know that your patients, if you're at oral surgery office, for example, your patients might only be in once, but your referrals are in, are referring patients on a regular basis. So you can apply the same formula to see what your referral lifetime value is.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarah. I jumped the gun on that one. I appreciate it.
Oh, no worries.
Awesome. So with that being said, we're going to take our first poll. If you've ever joined our webinars before, we really like to get your input and your engagement just to see what maybe you and your peers are doing. So we're going to launch our first poll, and this is, what are you currently doing to market your practice to active patients? And this can be choose all that apply, but again, this is all active patients, your current patient base. What are you doing to market to them? And just take a quick moment to answer that for us. Awesome. It looks like most are saying appointment reminders and online reviews. Sarah, and then from there, it's looking like social media and email marketing coming in with about half doing that, but as many as 90% doing online reviews and appointment reminders, which is really interesting. Do you have any initial thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think that's great that 90% are doing the online reviews and appointment reminders. And because you're here today, we'll help you learn a little bit more about how to leverage the email marketing portion.
Awesome. Great. Great. So today we've split the conversation into kind of two buckets. The first that we're going to talk about being the one-to-many tactic, kind of staying in touch with your entire base, speaking to many at once. And then we're going to dive into custom campaigns where we're a bit more targeted and at times much more targeted. But right now, Sarah, let's talk about those overarching campaigns and how you can really work to stay in touch with your entire base. Can you start with, you have a great example that you provided everyone here today with your editorial calendar, and really your marketing campaigns, you want to have that monthly plan to help keep you organized and know what you're sending out, right?
Yeah, so I start with an annual plan actually, where I develop themes for each month. We're by no means creating all of the content a year in advance. Things that need to be more fluid than that. But it's nice to just have an idea of what you're doing every single month. So for example, October is National Hygiene Month. We know that, in October, we're going to talk about hygiene. We're going to highlight the hygiene team in some way. So that level is what we're talking about initially. And then once you get to that month or about a month or two beforehand, you can even do it quarterly if you are confident that your information won't change. You can develop a monthly calendar, and that's when you really get into the nitty-gritty of it, and you talk about when is the email going to, or your monthly newsletter, when's that going to deploy, what does your social media frequency look like, and what type of posts are you going to have throughout the month. This really helps support that you're consistent throughout the entire campaign that you do. And it keeps you connected and top of mind for your patients.
Awesome. Great. And one of the tactics or touch points that you have on there is a monthly newsletter. And you gave us a great template to kind of work from. Can you explain this to us and what type of elements you put typically in your newsletters?
Yeah, so briefly, I'd like to just cover that the benefits of the monthly newsletter include being top of mind, educate on topics, and raise awareness of your offerings. So it doesn't just do one thing. This isn't necessarily a sales tactic, but it is a way to stay in communication with your base. And then, so for this example, you can see that I always start with a header image with some educational copy related to that theme. Always have a call to action. If you have an active blog, this is a great place to link it there. If you don't, that's okay. You can still have a section for tips or something of that nature. If you have a sale going on, that might replace the header here. The image is the next group next to some copy that promotes a service. And if you have product in office, I typically follow with that as well. So all of this would follow under the same theme. So let's say clear aligners is your theme of the month. You'd have some educational content about clear aligners, and then go into clear aligners themselves. And then perhaps you have a special rinse, or if you have electronic toothbrushes that really clean in between braces, well, that might be something that you feature for the products. And then finally, you close out with something related to like your specific office needs and information. So this might be appointment reminders, closures, promotions, team spotlight, training announcements. And then I always finish with the revenue well button that says request or schedule an appointment button, depending on if you have their live online scheduling live, because that will allow you to track all of the leads that are coming directly from your email every month. So that's a really great way to know what your results are. You can also add that same link in, as the call to action if it's appropriate further up.
Awesome. Awesome. And then aside from the monthly newsletter, you also have an example here of you can also send a promotional email, and really there are different types of promotions that you can run. They don't always have to be sales oriented, from what you say here, we're correct?
Yeah, correct. So sometimes, you host an event. So Father's Day is coming up. So let's say that you are hosting a Father's Day drawing to aid in retention. So you could, this could be related to that. It could be related to a blast challenge one of my practices does, which, is a great event that they do digitally every month and encourage people to blast daily and create that habit. Here you see they have one of their products they're promoting here, 15% off all perio sciences. This is wrapped into an antioxidant larger campaign, but this is specifically the promotional email that you're seeing here. From a timing perspective, it's also just important to know that you want to stagger these emails. You don't want them to go out right on top of each other. So you can, if you're going to do a promo email, which does not need to happen every month, if that's not on brand for you. But if you are going to put a promotional email out, I like to space them out. So choose a date that you always send your newsletter out. So let's say, the second Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m. is when you always send that newsletter out. Then your promotional email is likely to go out the third week of the month, because you're going to give some consistency while you're also giving some breathing room between emails so that your audience doesn't get overwhelmed.
Awesome, awesome. And this is probably one of my favorite slides, is because, a lot of times when we think of marketing our practices, we don't consider maybe the piece of when the patient is through the door. A lot of times maybe we stop the marketing once they get through the door, but you can continue the conversation and have in that office, the practice is another channel you can tap into, right?
Yeah, so it's really important that you include all of your channels, like everything that has a single touch point with your patient. You want to make sure that theme across all of them is consistent. So you're talking about doing it in office in the hygiene bags. We usually do a takeaway there. I have signage in the office that matches the theme that is, in the newsletter as well as on the website. There are window clings, treatment room saver or screensavers, as well as dental specific television content. So anywhere that you have a touch point with your audience is somewhere that you want to make sure that theme is consistently spoken about, and training your clinical team as well as your business team to speak on the theme each month and make sure that they're in the know, so that when someone comes in, they have a consistent experience no matter how they connect with you.
Yeah, and one thing that I really like is the pro tip that you added down here, which is, you never want people to feel like they're being sold to, or that they walk into, a mall and people are, trying to solicit them for anything. But really, this is meant to be a conversation starter. And all of this looks great that, you've created with your client. And hopefully that is designed to spark conversation on their behalf, right?
Right. So that's why it's important to make sure your team is in the know, because it's similar to having someone in the chair. They come in for a hygiene treatment and you notice that, they may have a different need while they're there. Their intention was just to educate them on, how to improve their hygiene and how to, make it better for the next one, but they may need some restorative treatment or something of that nature. So it's the same thing here. You're looking at, educating them to how they can improve their health. And then you're going deeper and saying, well, here's how we can help you through our services and our products throughout your messaging. So it's really just an extension of what you're doing in the chair, and you're communicating with them in every way that you can.
Awesome. And this is a great example of really bringing it, all together from that omni-channel perspective, from online to in the office. Can you walk us through your What's Your White campaign?
Yeah, this is one of my very favorites that one of my clients does, that we created together. So The whole idea is that, so what's your white? This is regarding dentistry. They allowed me to share their example. So hello to those of you on the call from that office. Thanks for joining. But so we do a whitening campaign every year. And we were inspired by the fact that when they do in-office whitening, they are literally painting the color onto their teeth. So that inspired this campaign, where we're seeing the, actual brushes, similar to a retail display if you were to walk in a store, where there are actual brushes hanging in their atrium when you walk in that you'll see that visually grab your attention. Can't see it, but down below there's like little mini paint cans as well. And then we move on and we continue that theme all the way through the office, from offering water and sharing that if you take a sip of water after drinking red wine, that helps your teeth from staining and keeping them white, to having takeaways in the top right-hand corner. You can see a takeaway that is in all of the hygiene bags. And that actually, on the opposite side, there is more information about the services, which includes all 3 of their options. The office offers in-office whitening, as well as a custom whitening tray and the Opulescence Go trays, which aren't as fixed to them, but it's a good starting point. So we use that as well to build upon campaigns and to sell them to the other levels of what's your white as well. And you can also see that the website, and there's a Instagram offer here of up to $100 off. So this is one opportunity that we used to give a discount or a special offer to our guests in order to really make an impact.
Talk about omni-channel, talk about a conversation starter. This is really awesome. Very, very awesome, very creative. Thank you for sharing that example with us. So yeah, now we're going to hop into our custom campaigns. So here we're getting very targeted, right? Sarah, we want to talk about how you're going to build these custom campaigns and deploy them based off of your patient segments.
Yeah, so this is called segmentation. It's really where you look at the audiences that you want to target, and you're going to use the filters offered within your PMS, and which then translates into revenue well or whatever you're using in order to really create a custom campaign. So because summer's coming up, I included this example of targeting the responsible party or the parent of kids 5 to 7 to bring kids in during the summer. So the kids are home more. It's before back to school for college age kids too, so you could extend this a little bit more. I would probably create 2 different audiences if I were doing that, speaking directly to the college students. But you can just do a campaign that involves the timing of summer. Related to that, I like to do a benefits reminder campaign at the end of the year to make sure that they're aware that their benefits may be expiring and that they have money left to spend. Those are also filters that you can do within Revenue Well. And another exciting way to do this is doing interest-based campaign ideas. So for example, if someone, we'll go back to what's your white, if they whitened before, a lot of research says that they may also be interested in Botox or other aesthetic pleasing treatments such as clear aligners. Yes, I know that clear aligners aren't always aesthetic based, sometimes they are functional based, but in this case, doing whitening suggests that they are interested in those other services. So if that's something that you do, that's a great opportunity there. And related to that, those who have already done one of those procedures, aesthetic procedures, and there's an opportunity for them to come back in and freshen up, that's another campaign opportunity. So all of this you can do through Revenue Well, using that targeting and just making sure that you are really drilling down to the exact person you want to talk to, and then making sure your message matches who you're reaching to. So if I'm reaching out to parents, I'm going to mention that they are parents and that they have kids home from at home this summer. If I'm reaching out to whitening patients, I'm going to mention that they've had whitening with us, that type of thing. So really making that personalized message make an impact and connect with people.
Awesome. And when it comes to keeping the schedule full, another specific custom campaign you've created is the last minute marketing campaign. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is different than using your ASAP list where people have said that, they want to be contacted earlier if something opens up. This is when your schedule falls apart for whatever reason, and you just have some last minute openings you really need to fill. Whether it's because people get sick during cold and flu season, or it's cabin season and people forgot that they had something on, Friday. You just need to fill those last minute schedule holes. So this is one way you can do that. We're going to go a little bit deeper on this one. The cool thing is with this campaign, I recommend sending it out as a text and an email. And here's why. So the texts are going to fill your immediate needs, and the emails are going to fill your further out needs. The people you're going to target for this are people who are overdue for appointments. So you're re-engaging your patients as well as filling your schedule. So it's kind of a double dip here. So you send out that text message to them. The people who really want to get in quickly that week are going to text you back, or that day are going to text you back right away, and they'll fill the schedule. And then the people who are going to receive that email later on, they are going to message you back, which is going to allow you to fill any future schedule holes you may have further on in that month. And it gives you that opportunity, even if you don't have schedule holes, to reconnect with those patients who are reaching out and re-engage that audience so that you can increase your retention.
Awesome. Awesome. And again, that's a great way to stay flexible with your targeted marketing campaigns and fill that schedule as you need to. Now, as Sarah mentioned, there are ways to get deeper within your marketing efforts, especially when you're targeting your current patient base. Sarah, you've used treatment codes in the past to build your campaigns, right? And now this may not be something that you may be able to do yourself, but it is a great tool to utilize if you have that expertise and that knowledge, right? With using treatment codes to target your current patients.
Yes, so I recommend mapping your patient journey, and what that means, and if you guys need extra help, I'm here, you can give me a call, and I am happy to help set up these campaigns for you. But you have to map your patient journey, meaning this example that we're seeing here is the mapping of one of my office's clear aligners. So, we have existing patients, and they either have expressed a clinical interest or they have not expressed an interest but may have a need, such as, functional or an aesthetic, like good teeth or something of that, or spacing issues. Each of these are points of opportunity for communication. So you want to write those down, and then you continue to map down. So if they have expressed a clinical interest, they have either received a complimentary scan and set up an appointment for that, or they have not. All of these have treatment codes related to them. And the great thing about Revenue Well is they allow you to create your own practices treatment codes in addition to the ADA codes. So you can really get this as deep as you want to based on the codes you set up within your office and the processes you have set up with your clinical team. So moving on from complimentary scans, we go to treatment conference if they've had it or if they have not chosen to move forward, and then whether they go into treatment or not treatment. So each of these have are points of potential communication. There are different objections that you hear throughout the process. So for example, if you have something related to cost, like cost could be a concern, you can send out an email speaking to Care Credit if your office uses it, or a dental membership program, dental savings program, or maybe you offer specific treatment plans that are flexible. Those are really great points of education and interest that you can put into this. So just think through your patient journey, think about the objections they may have at each grouping, and you can create a wonderful workflow so that you can get your patients back in and get those cases accepted. And it really takes a lot of time, and this automation piece really alleviates a lot of time and effort from your doctors and from your business team following up with them.
Awesome. Awesome. And we want to hop into a quick poll, and our second and final poll. How are you how often are you experiencing holes in your schedule? Sarah has talked about a number of great ways to fill the schedule proactively, but also remain flexible, having those campaigns on that allow for that flexibility to fill it at a moment's notice when you notice them in your day. Just take a moment to answer that for us. So a lot of people are saying that, well, about half are saying that they frequently experience holes in their schedule, with the follow-up of sometimes. So 9% are saying rarely. That's awesome. Rock stars. And again, Sarah shared a number of great ways to help alleviate that. So by all means, please definitely use these tips that she's offering to help kind of mitigate that for you. So we want to be conscious of time. So bringing online scheduling into the fold, again, if you have to hop off, we will send you the recording, but we're gonna go ahead and keep trucking. Sarah, so when we're talking about online scheduling, the goal is to make it as simple as possible for people to book an appointment, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So it's important to understand that online scheduling is related to templated scheduling. It's not just a free-for-all where someone's going to come in and request whatever the time they want on whatever day of week they want. It really means that the practice is setting specific times that you have available for different types of treatments. And and then from there, they're selecting what works within your schedule. So it's just important to know that up front. And it's perfect to include links for this into recall campaigns, last minute appointment campaigns, and end of the year campaigns as an example.
Awesome. And I wanted to touch on reputation management. I think this is very relevant to this conversation when we're talking about your current patient base, because your current patients are really such a huge part of your reputation, and just making sure that you close that loop and helping them to really spread the good news about that awesome care that you're delivering. So you want to encourage them to complete a survey or write a review of their experience so that they can have other, not just new patients, but maybe current patients will come across, like Sarah said, a service that they could also take advantage of. So there's really been a lot of benefits to closing that loop and making sure that your patients are completing a survey and writing that review. And you want to try to automate that into the process, and make sure that they're coming back and filling out those surveys and doing those reviews. And you can link them directly to Google and Facebook, so that it's instantaneous. And Sarah, another thing is really becoming a part of that conversation too online. When people do leave reviews, you want to be an active participant in that conversation.
Yes, so creating some sort of templated response, I definitely encourage. It's not going to be identical every time, and you do need to leave some room for personality, but you can write in your brand voice. But it's really important to respond, whether it's good or bad. And before you start responding, if it is a negative review, just recommend taking a deep breath and just understanding that feedback is a gift, and that there is, it's all about perspective, right? So if they had a bad day, that's okay. They need to share that with you. Just ask them to continue the conversation offline, acknowledge their feelings, and ask them to take that conversation offline.
Excuse me, I went a little haywire there. But yes, I love that comment. Feedback is a gift. That is, it really, it truly is. And it gives, the opportunity for the public to see the more human side of the practice. No one is perfect. And when you spot it, please contact us and let us know how we can make it right. So feedback is a gift. And finally, we want to talk again, if you have any questions, we will try to answer a couple of them before we hop off, but give us your questions in that Q&A box. But you want to make sure that you're measuring your efforts so that you can track your performance and make any adjustments that are necessary. And Sarah, you provided a great screenshot of Revenue Well's Insights dashboard. And really, this takes all of your efforts and kind of funnels it into a dashboard where you can see where you're excelling and maybe where you need to improve, right?
Yeah, so something I love about this dashboard is that it actually does give the industry benchmarks, which you see in gray there. And it also gives your numbers. So it's important to note that every single month you're probably not going to always have those little green arrows. As you can see, like the no-show rate for this example is in red, and you know the no-show rate went up 6% that month. But the overall is what you want to look at, and you want to look at you're always improving, right? So this gives you the knowledge to make those adjustments and to analyze what's working, what isn't, and make the adjustments in order to improve your numbers. So, you know, this is one of my clients. This is just a single month shot. If you look at their overall annual, they're above the board on every single benchmark. They're, you know, a high performing practice. And it's just great to see, you know, if we see a dip, what happened that month, and we talk about it and we learn how to improve it for the next month.
Awesome. And again, this is just it's so important to know what your efforts are yielding you so that you can make adjustments and so that you have a true baseline of how you're performing. So, you know, if it feels like a lot of people aren't showing up for their appointment, that may be true, or it may not be true. It may just seem like that during the day, but the data is going to give you the yes or the no on a lot of questions that you have so that you can remain flexible. So a great tool to use is that Insights dashboard within the Revenue Well platform. If you're a current user, definitely want to look into activating that and seeing what your metrics are looking like. And finally, just tying it all together, if you've joined us, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, and then the month before that, we talked about how to generate more business for your practice and more brand awareness. Today, we focused on how to maximize your marketing campaigns to build that retention and build revenue from your current patient base. So again, Revenue Well, if you're a current user, if you're looking into adopting Revenue Well, really an all-in-one end-to-end solution for you to simplify your day, generate awareness and business, and also maximize your efforts and your campaigns. So definitely look to activate and use that as much as possible. And Sarah, I understand you have a special offer. As you promised in the beginning of the webinar, you have a special offer for our audience today, right?
Yeah, so I'm offering a 30-minute strategy session complimentary. It's a $100 value for anyone who joined us today, or if you're listening to the recording, I'll send it to you as well. So please shoot me an email and we can talk strategy, whether that is talking about setting up what campaigns you may need in Revenue Well and you know, doing advanced campaign setup and management, or maybe it's marketing strategy development, content development and execution, social media, or you know, maybe it's just training your team on how to do some of these marketing things on a regular basis. I can help with all of that. So please don't feel free to reach out, and I'd love to talk to you.